Republican Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana, member of the Judiciary, Budget, and Appropriations Committees. Great to have you in focus. First time I've seen you. Happy New Year. All right, let's get started with what is myth and what is factual in what we're seeing coming out of the White House on this.
2 points. The United States Congress will not vote to default on America's debt. In the past 25 years, our Congress has had 12 opportunities to vote to default. Congress has never done that. It never will, nor should it. So everyone should take their meds and chill. Point 2. There are 3 things that most fair-minded Americans agree on. Number 1, there's something very wrong in our country. 70% of the American people think our country is headed in the wrong direction. And the 30% who disagree must still be living in their parents' basement. Number 2, the federal government spends too much, particularly the last 2 years, and has too much debt. And if we don't stop it, we're going to end up in a deep recession. And Google may have to lay off up to 25 members of Congress. That's how bad it'll be. Number 3, the American people do not believe that the federal government should default on its debt. Now, the 3 things I just described are the things that House Republicans agree with. Some people, including the White House, are trying to demonize the House Republicans. But they're not saying to the president, Mr. President, we can't wait to default. They're saying to the president, Mr. President, we don't want to default. We're not going to default on America's debt. But we want you to work with us to control spending and debt so we don't find ourselves in this position again.
Senator, just real quickly, because I want to move on to the next thing, but I want to ask you this real quickly. What about this group of Republican leadership has us to the point where they just might bring the swamp to a halt and get this done? I mean, is this a special group? Because this has been an ongoing conversation, and Democrats always vilify the right on this issue.
Sure, that's not going to happen. And if you don't want it to happen, if you're President Biden and you don't want that to happen, you're going to negotiate. But what's been the White House's position, Harris? Apparently, President Biden's position is, I don't care because I don't think I have to. And they won't even meet with the House Republicans. I mean, how very mature. Apparently, the people at the White House are not like most teenagers. They're all over 40. Now, we have time.
Very little.
I know Secretary Yellen is saying it's immediate, but we won't have a drop-dead date until August, maybe September.
That is news.
The White House has time.
Because we're being told June. That's more.
No,
that's a lot more
time. That's not true. No, it's not true. We've got at least until August and maybe September, which is enough time for the White House to grow out of puberty and sit down and talk with the House Republicans.
Wow. That is really useful information. I mean, June is obviously a lot more imminent. This conversation needs no manipulation, Senator. So we appreciate you telling us when it's really going to happen. Outrage after the U.S. Supreme Court investigation could not identify the culprit who leaked Justice Alito's draft decision overturning Roe v. Wade. The leak and the decision have sparked months of massive protests. And it didn't stop there. Conservative justices, their families under assault. Angry mobs targeting their homes, issuing threats, vandals trashing pro-life centers and churches around America. The FBI making exactly 0 arrests in all those cases I just mentioned. Police did, however, arrest Nicholas Roski, who traveled to Washington, D.C. to Justice Kavanaugh's home. Prosecutors say he plotted to shoot Kavanaugh and other justices. Roski is charged with attempted murder. No leaker named, but the High Court's investigation found dozens of people who had access to the Alito draft. 82 people knew about it. Senator, what is the American public supposed to believe when stuff can leak out of the U.S. Supreme Court?
Well, here's my message to the leaker. Congratulations, butthead. You almost got a member of the United States Supreme Court killed and his family. What a narcissist. You obviously think your personal politics are more important than the sanctity of the United States Supreme Court. I don't mean any disrespect to the Chief Justice. I was disappointed in his report. I think this is the Chief Justice's way of saying, we're not going to find out who the leaker is, and if we do know, we're not going to tell you. We want to move on. I think that's a mistake.
You think it'll happen again?
Well, I believe that what you allow is what will continue, and I think we can find the leaker. Maybe the Supreme Court needs to bring in help, but we need to find that leaker, make an example of him or her, and hit them so hard they'll cough up bones. Not literally, of course. But I don't think the Chief Justice is going to do that, and I think he's missing an opportunity here.
Wow. Senator, thank you always for being in focus. You put a lot on our minds today. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet.